Awesome. All right, everyone, welcome to Progressive HR Live. I am here with Kieran Gilmurray, digital transformation and robot process automation and intelligent automation expert. How are you today, Kieran?
Yeah, I'm really good, really good. And here, thank you very much for inviting me on, because I've watched the show for ages and it's excellent. Now you're getting to participate just adds a little bit to it. Now I can say I've done this. So I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you for coming on. I'm a little bit fangirling right here, a little bit starstruck, and I'm just so appreciative. And I'm appreciative for Emma Roloff for connecting us. So
okay. Absolute star. Emma, thank you. Absolute star. We're not telling that though.
So I see a few people joining. Welcome. This is Progressive HR Live, and I'm here with Kieran Gilmurray. If you are joining us live, please say in the comments who you are, where are you tuning in from, and we'll do our introductions and our first question soon. So Kieran, where are you streaming from today?
So I say Belfast in Northern Ireland because the town I live in is right beside that, and it makes it slightly easier for folks to do it. So we're late in the evening here. We're 6 evening time, usual dark, wet, and cold. And welcome to Northern Ireland light, but good to be here. Fantastic.
For all the time that I lived in the UK, I had never got the chance to go to Ireland, and I think it might have been just because it was so close. Mm-hmm. And I always thought. I'll get there someday.
well, you're welcome. When you come back, I'll show you around. I've now got it down. I have lots of American guests come over the last couple of years, so now I know exactly where to go, and I can do local tour guide as well.
Yeah, well,
the gorgeous part of the world.
I can expect that next time I'll be over in that part of the world will be maybe a year.
maybe. Physically, if not virtually, just.
Yes. Oh, and everyone, I'm tuning in from Verona, Wisconsin. Verona is very close to Madison, Wisconsin, just around the bend. And so I'm going to go to our audience now and see where you guys are tuning in from. Hi, Lisa. Lisa's coming in from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Oh, Lisa says Ireland's on a high in her list of places she wants to see.
I might need a bus now, so everybody comes over at the same time. We'll all do the same trip.
I think we should get an RV. That would be fun.
That's it. We'll do that.
Do you have RVs?
We do.
Okay.
I laugh. Years ago, I was studying in England, and for a bit of fun, it was maybe 20-something years ago, and they were wondering what Ireland was like. And of course, you have to joke. And I said, well, I got a donkey to the train station, and then I got a boat over to England. Of course, I'd flown and drove up in a car. But so you have to play. So you asked me, do we have RVs? I was tempted to say, well, we've got donkeys and carts, but I'll not be naughty.
Our own little caravan.
That's it. I've got my caravan. It goes everywhere with me.
We've got such an international group today. Marano is joining from Argentina.
Oh, yes. Jealous. I want to go.
I know. Me too. I've been to Argentina. The Cataratas, which is near the. I almost spoke Spanish there for a minute. Close to Foz de Iguazu, which is the international falls where they filmed the mission. I
got so close. I was in Colombia and Bogota, and then Sao Paulo and Rio. And never made it across. I need to. That in Chile as well. That's my go-to dream places.
Yes, I mean, there's so much more to explore in South America. And it's so different from where we're from too, as well. So,
have they got caravans as well?
I don't know if they do.
We could find out.
We can find out. Oh yeah, much more people here tuning in. I can't keep up. Brian from Merton, Wisconsin. Hi, Brian. How are you doing?
I think you've got the Wisconsin crew on board tonight.
I do. We have a LinkedIn user from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm going to check really quickly who that is. 1 second.
How does LinkedIn do that?
Okay, so it's in your settings. So you have to go into your settings, and you have to go like how third party settings sees your viewership, and then you have to turn it off.
Okay.
So it took me the longest time to figure that out. Yeah. So hi, Tyler from Cedarburg, Wisconsin. We have Doug from Mequon. Oh, more international. Janelle from Vancouver. Hi, Janelle.
This is like all the places I want to go and see. You're doing this deliberately. Here's where you could have went. Here's the prize you could have had.
Brown Deer, Wisconsin. Do you want to go to Brown Deer, Wisconsin? It's lovely. I've been to Brown Deer.
I think all Irish want to go to America. So you sort of said everybody wants to come to Ireland and all the Irish want to go to the US. So we maybe do a swap program. So yes, is the short answer. Anywhere.
An HB1 visa for swapping people.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll go legally. Yes. We better say that for the sake of the show, never mind anything else.
Hi, Brandon. Brandon's tuning in from Brown Deer. And of course, Emma says, hi, friends.
Hi, Emma. How are you?
So I'm just going to take a moment really quickly and see who we have from Cleveland, Ohio here. I like to know who I'm talking to.
Because the last time I was on You're an Emma's excellent show, I was that LinkedIn person, and I was logged in as me and everything else. Now I know how to turn that setting off. That's it. Welcome to HR advices and technical support for LinkedIn. We do both, and tourism advice.
And advice about how RVs.
RVs, caravans and RVs.
So that's Gerardo from Cleveland. So when that pops up again, if I see LinkedIn user, I'll just assume it's Gerardo. So all right, everybody, we're going to go into our first question. And now, if you have comments and questions for myself or for Kieran, mainly for Kieran because he's the guest and he's the expert, not me, please put them into the comments section, and we'll be able to answer those in between my questions for Kieran. So this is going to be a very dynamic, very interesting, very exciting discussion about digital transformation as here.
I was going to say, Corinne, lower that bar there a little bit. we've now set a high bar.
We're among friends, so we can set a really high bar. It's all about the confidence.
Okay, go low and we'll break it.
And Gerardo says, thank you. Awesome. All right. Now, what inspired you to write Human Resources Teams Are Critical to the Success of Digital Transformation Initiatives in 2021, though they may not realize this?
Yeah, I wonder whether that was my personal rant and frustration that people wonder why technology projects fail, but there's no such thing as a technology project as such. There's a change program, and change involves not tech. Tech doesn't change a business. People change a business. And I've watched over the years lots and lots of different projects fail, and people tend to get involved, and then people tend to get blamed for it. So you see boards setting wonderful digital strategies, and we're going to do this, and they go off for a nice meal, and they come back and tell the executive team what they're going to do. And then everybody sets out a 5-year strategy and gives themselves 3 years to do it. And then they realize, like, they've only got a year left because they haven't told anybody else about it, but they don't explain it to the business. The business teams don't get it. So then they start to blame the business teams for not understanding the digital strategy. So then they get new and, again, in inverted commas, better people in to deliver the strategy. And then they discover the new people and the old people don't get along because the old people suddenly feel as if they're devalued and not part of the future when they've really busted gut for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The knowledge they have is exceptional. And then the folks go, well, the old people aren't, they're a bit intransigent. They're not moving with the times. So then we clear them out. And over time, you just say, well, hold on, people, get the people part right. It's people, not technology, that transforms organizations. And which team of any in the business is actually, I say, accountable, responsible, involved, engaged. It's the HR team, not the technology team, not anything else. That's about human capital development, people. So why is that team not stepping forward and owning transformation? Forget digital, forget website, forget everything. It's about people changing, and people change, be it customers or business or whatever else. They need to own it. They need to step up and do it. Not hide behind IT teams and wait for them to succeed or fail. Not blame the business or set, what I would describe as a process in place to make sure there's a job description for a digital architect or a solution architect. This is people who transform businesses. So get the business ready, help the people, help the executive team and the management team and build a change management program and start to own it a little bit more, as opposed to relying, in the worst instance, on policy and saying I hire people. So it's a bit of a rant and a bit of frustration and a bit of a call to arms as well for HR professionals to own transformation of businesses and people.
And I have been talking about this in a different way for a very long time. It's one of the reasons why I started Progressive HR. It's just because the same reason is like, because I was frustrated. I was just frustrated by the stereotype. I was frustrated by the role that I was put into as being the police, the policymaker, instead of the change maker, instead of the person who's looking at people and seeing their human potential and help them develop and grow and, as you say, transform the organization.
Yep.
So
yep.
I mean, that your rant called out to me, and I heard it. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on to talk about how HR supports digital transformation.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're both in the same place. We could be in violent agreement as opposed to violent disagreement, but I'm the same thing. Like, how many HR teams have you come across who rely on policy and procedure, and that's their job? We hire people, we discipline people. You know, I really see it as a failure of HR strategy. And, you know, I've called for, and you'll notice in that article, if you as the HR leader are relying on that old way of working and you're not taking hold of how, who, how, what, where, why, and when a people organization or people business transforms, then it's time to actually exit the organization and free the space up for someone who will. So let's violently agree and find where we violently disagree as well in the next period.
And this is where we kind of violently disagree a little bit. Is like, I personally, I think it's equal. I think it's hand in hand. I think it's up to the HR department and the CHRO, but I also think it's up to the executive team not to place those expectations of being the policymaker and the police and the person that's going to get them out of trouble when they need it, but not when they need it. Like, HR is only important when they need to get out of trouble. But it's, so you've got two sets of expectations. It's the expectations of the HR person that, yes, this is my job now. My job is here to support digital transformation and human potential. And then the CEO and the C-suite that is saying, yes, that's your job, rather than, no, that's not your job, or you shouldn't stay in your lane. I've heard a lot of times, stay in your lane. What's my lane? You know, the world tells me my lane is digital transformation and supporting people, but you're telling me that when it's convenient to you, my lane is compliance. So I would say that
we'll violently disagree here, because people in organizations create lanes. You know what I mean? If you go to an organization, it just tells you what to do because that's exactly what they want you to do. There's no creative freedom or space. That's probably a failure of the executive team, or saying, you know, I could do it better, I just don't have time, so therefore do what I'm talking about. But HR teams are guilty as well of not evidencing value or not putting themselves forward to put them in a position where the business would actually give them the reins. So you will have heard often enough, you know, chief financial officers, are they the right people to run an organization? Big question mark. From a financial perspective, yes. From a creative and a people perspective, not really, you know, or a lot of the time. So what's a HR team to do? You know, say, okay, finance own it, someone else owns it. We'll stay in a lane that we think we should be in. Or should they be, like most organizations, you know, arguing and presenting and putting forward why? And let's be honest, people businesses, not building businesses, it's as in physical buildings or machine businesses. We're not robots. Why are they not putting themselves forward and evidencing that value? If I turn around and says, okay, we'll automate a program, what are we delivering? The finance person usually can turn around and say, well, you know, we cut headcount, we saved this on the P&L, we've added this amount of sales. I turn around and say to a HR person or a HR professional, okay, you want 100,000 to send people on a particular course, what's the value? And they start telling me, well, you know, people like to be invested in and they like to stay. And there's a whole lot of, you know, fluff. I'm not suggesting hard metrics, but at least give me a little bit of a chance if I'm running an organization and need to argue with my board as to where the money's going and what return there is, other than people are feeling a little bit happier. I'm saying that is essential, and NPS scores should be really reflected and looked after, but HR professionals should be putting themselves forward, because businesses are people businesses, nothing else. So are we abdicating the responsibility to the finance team? You know, are we abdicating it to the IT team to manage people change? That seems like an absolute dereliction of duty.
And I agree with you. And going back to your statement, it's like if you see, and see, this is where we like we'll disagree, but we'll agree at the same time. Is that, you know, I agree with you. I agree with you. And to your point of like, if you're in HR and this you're not making it happen, you should leave. You should leave if you're not making it happen, but you should also leave if people are not giving you that space and the innovative creativity to make it happen. If they're not opening those doors for you to make it happen. If you come back always with having your ROI, your metrics, by being able to say what the HCM is going to come back in the positive or negative, you should leave. You should leave because there's going to be a better organization out there for you that's going to need you. So
yeah, but learn the lessons as well, because it's a little bit of, I think we place a lot of, and I do too, by the way, a lot of expectations on the leadership of a business. But I'm on boards and have been on boards where the leadership don't understand digital. I don't mean that rudely, you know, in any sense, because digital has come up really, really, really quick. It's a bit like asking someone to understand cloud or psychometric profiling in a different department. Each area has its own specialism. There's knowledge, but that does not then abdicate, you know, HR's responsibility or accountability to provide direction, you know, to understand where labor markets are doing or moving, to understand where markets are, and educate a board. And for want of a better phrase, you know, jockey for position or push knowledge that, you know, is valuable and insightful and going to encourage a board to change as well. So just because a board currently doesn't understand the importance of, you know, maybe digital technology or SaaS or cloud or human capital or the future work or digital skills, every department and executive board is incumbent upon both to educate themselves as to what and where and why and how customers are spending, where markets are going, how things are turning digital, and how they can build the organization of the future with their people. So it's not just a case of sitting back going, oh, the board doesn't know. That's okay, I'll go somewhere else. Because who's to say the next board doesn't know and the next one? You know, you have to earn the right to play and you have to influence. Doesn't matter whether it's a large or small organization. So I would definitely say the board has a responsibility, because I talk about every time I meet people, you know, about value setting and evidencing behaviors. Because how many organizations have we all been in where an executive team has said, do this, and then they do the opposite, you know? So that evidence setting for people is absolutely key. You know, and I'm going, right, you know, I expect my board to be digital. I expect them to use digital tools. I expect them to learn, but I expect my HR manager, you know, he or she to implement digital technologies, to have studied and learned digital, to be using all of the terms and the vernacular and all of the assets that they have at their disposal in much the same way. Everybody needs to evidence set the right way to work.
Mm-hmm. Take the seat. Don't be asked to sit down. Take the seat. So we had a lot of what?
I earned it. I've earned it. I can stay. Okay, I can stay. Fantastic. I thought so you kicked me out at some stage.
Absolutely not. I'm good. I'm good with people disagreeing with me.
Finally agreeing.
We've got lots of comments and questions here, so I am going to go to where we start off. Let's see here. Okay, so we had another person join us, Ricky from Tennessee. Hi, Ricky. Thank you for joining us. And Janelle said, I think a lot of people can relate to that example, and I think this was the example that you first gave of the interactions between the board and human resources. And then Ricky is agreeing, yes, optimization occurs via technology. The roadmap is created by people. Absolutely. And Emma weighs in, but doesn't digital transformation support compliance? Oh, that's a good question. Ooh. So Emma, is this a question for Kieran? Digital transformation support?
Compliance with what, Emma, is maybe I'm going to ask the question. So if you have, like, technology works on systems, you know, order and logic and routine and then repeat. You know, it doesn't have the capacity of us as human beings, because we can think creatively. You know, the closest thing you can maybe get is the internet, where everything hyperlinks from left to right and up and down and almost doesn't seem logical. So of course, technology will allow you to be more compliant with the process and the procedures that you got, because you're training a piece of technology or a software robot to, you know, take an instruction, process that instruction based on a set of rules and spit it out the other end. You know, human creativity, emotions, or intentions, you know, all those things, dealing with people on a humanic or human basis, Those are all skills that technology cannot make happen. Now, can we force HR teams and organizations to do things that are more digital and more transformative? Well, yeah, look, I can create computer-based learning material and insist you do it, so I can, tick the compliance box to say, yep, 100 out of 100 staff have now completed a digital course. But does that actually mean you've convinced me of the value of a particular something, be it robots or digital transformation or an augmented future? So my one is definitely yes, digital technology can support compliance and ways of working. But I also want people to think outside of the box. If we just let machines do the thinking, where is that human creativity, that judgment or whatever else? It would be lost. And that would make me very sad. So I'm into the proposition that, again, as mentioned a moment ago, it's people that make the difference. People should be augmented with technology to allow them to make better decisions, to remove mundane, monotonous, boring, repetitive, and often dangerous work. But let's make sure we're building businesses around people and augmenting them with technology at the right moment, not putting in technology, say, to force people into working in a particular way. If that's the case, we've probably hired the wrong people, because we then have human robots, not creative, wonderful individuals who are aided and abetted by fantastic technology, be whatever it is, to help them, build better businesses and better communities within those businesses.
Do you hear that? That's the crowd cheering. Right, oh, wow. There. Yeah, that's the crowd.
They're all in Wisconsin. It's too far away from Ireland for me to hear.
Yes, I hear the crowd cheering in my
Oh, that was outside the window. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Here's just Rian.
And Brian says, Kieran, agree, though I'd call that a roadblock. I agree with that. That has been removed, and a work around it and show what HR can do. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that, Brian. We are in violent agreement. That's I call that fatalism. A team sitting there saying, well, the board said this and we can't do it. What better team to train a board and develop them than the HR team? Well, we can't do it because the rule says, the computer says no. Well, who's the idiot who typed the rule into the computer in the first place? We need to question it all. I see things not, I don't see challenges. I see facts in life. And there's another fact to be dealt with in a particular way. Okay, let's go. So Brian, I love what you wrote.
And then Janelle says, yes, personal responsibility as we are HR professionals doing a good job influencing and courageously fighting for advice. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or are we influencing those HR professionals? So Janelle, what are you doing to influence, and what is actually working from an influencing perspective? Because that's something I think that we don't understand enough of in all the roles. Because I take technology, so I don't count myself as a technologist, by the way. I sit between the business and technology interpreting. So I'm more like a unicorn. And look, there's a magic light behind my head. That must be my crown of some sort. But a part of my time is I have to sell something every day. I wrote an article on this recently. If you want to launch intelligent automation in an organization, the first time to sell it is before you begin. And then when you're successful, hopefully, the next time you have to sell it is every single day thereafter, to retain the attention and the influence for you in a department, because there's very limited resources and executives makes, 1,000 decisions a day. So if you're not actually proactively influencing, promoting, and telling what I describe as a very positive truth, and admitting when things go wrong as well, because trust me, not everything will, and be confident about both, then in any job, never mind HR, you're not doing your job. And I think people find that hard to believe. If I just do a good job, everything will be magic. The world doesn't work like that. There's too much competition for resources and time and attention. So get influencing if you're not. And then any advices Janelle or anyone else can give to help, all the better.
So we talked a little bit about this already, but here's my next question. What is your perspective on the role of HR in digital transformation and the future of work?
Oh my goodness, you own it. No, I'm not giving you absolute responsibility and saying that executive teams and boards and everyone else can suddenly sit at the side and throw stones when things don't work. Organizations need to work together. The one positive thing that I've seen out of COVID, and there has been numbers and lots of tragedy as well, but the one positive thing is when we've had to work together as different business units and as teams, my goodness, all the stuff that people said couldn't happen for the last couple of years, we couldn't possibly go through that silo, we couldn't possibly implement that technology. We couldn't possibly, pass decisions down to our team. The future of work is now. I have seen some of the greatest changes in work environments that I've seen in years. People have worked together because they've had to work together. Teams and whatever else, as much as we get frustrated with Teams and Skype and Zoom and whereby.com, whatever else it is, people are communicating. We're in each other's living rooms. We're in each other's lives. I feel more connected to the people in my organization than I ever have done. Decisions have been pushed down from the center. Decisions have been made quickly. You talk about agile. We're all working with greater agility. All these things are happening. Why? Because people have had to make them happen. People want to make them happen, and they've wanted to make it happen for each other. This is evidence, if there was never evidence, that people are the most important part of an organization. The team, the one team that is accountable, responsible, informed, and whatever else other part of the RASA you want to talk about is human resources. I wish maybe we need to come up with a better name than human resources.
Oh, that's a thing for another chat day.
That's a whole day. But it's up to HR to have influenced and pushed this further forward, to have understood what the future work looks like, to understand the careers and the skill set that the business needs to bring itself into the future. Why are we discovering now that people don't have the skill sets in a digital age? Digital, like Amazon's been around 20 years. If you don't know digital, you don't know that. Your mobile phone's been around for years. Facebook, LinkedIn, people have been buying and selling for internet for the years. And organizations have found themselves very caught out. Now they can't get the skills. Their own people aren't qualified or knowledgeable about digital and whatever else. This isn't something that's bumped up in the night. Everybody's put it off and delayed it for years. Those organizations that have invested in digital, but let me be really clear, have invested in their people to have digital skills, to understand digital futures and whatever else. This is digital Darwinism. They're surviving, they're thriving. Those folks that didn't invest in digital, welcome to digital Darwinism. You're going to perish much like the dinosaurs did before. So if a HR strategy is not included educating and informing a board and educating and informing an executive team and making sure that the people inside of the organizations are those that need to come in to fill the gaps, to build the skills, to build the competencies, to allow an organization to thrive and survive. Again, take your coat and close the door behind you. You've not done your job.
And to that point, we were talking about, there's two things. One, I think I'm going to that point, I wanted to go to talk about the name change. So here's my thought is that I don't think that we can slap a new name on HR and then all of a sudden we'll be rebranded. So if we're going to go through this rebranding and slap a new name, we just might as well keep HR and actually make HR great. And work as colleagues, as HR colleagues, and work with our peers in other industries like yourself to learn and to educate and to rebrand HR for what HR really is. So, and I think this is interesting because in English, HR is human resources, as where if you look at other countries like Spain or Spanish, it's recursos humanos, so resources that are humans. So again, we don't need to rebrand, or we don't need to get a different name. We just need to change the stereotype and change the role and change our thoughts on what we are currently doing. And then HR can be HR, yay, rather than HR. Oh,
I really like that. Now, again, we've been slightly hard on HR people because Janelle mentioned earlier on, and Brian mentioned, it's about people, it's about influencing, and obviously they've got it. You know what I mean? But it's like everything in life. It's not in the words. You can call anybody anything. It's all in the actions. And it's not necessarily in the actions. It's all in the outcome. So technology is the same. Like we talk about intelligent automation because people didn't like the word robotic process automation. We talk about hyper automation because the first two didn't work. A lot of this is existing technology that's been around for goodness knows how many years. Digital transformation, really. We had websites in the year 2000. They were digitally transforming organizations. ERP systems were digitally transforming organizations. So technically in the world, there's very little that's new. eBay, really? Car boot sales, just digital. Renting your home out. Yeah, that's a sharing economy. I kind of like that, but I always borrowed something from a neighbor anyway and let some of my neighbor's kids stay for different times. I'm monetizing it, but it's all about the actions at the end of the day, And I would love to see, it doesn't matter whether it's HR, technology, whatever else, I'd love to see more of what we're seeing at the moment, which is people are at the core of COVID in one shape, form or other. They're making things work. They've been given skills. They've been given, authority. They've been given responsibility to make the decisions that they know they should have been able to make for many years. And guess what? Things are working. Whoa, a magic. Now, if we can give them technology on top of that to make their jobs that little bit easier to communicate, to work, to develop, to engage with customers and whatever else. And then, dear goodness, please let's not go back to the old days and the old ways when COVID gradually recedes. And thank God, or thank goodness, 12 months from now will be a lifetime in an entirely different place. Let's make sure we keep the good bits. Please, please.
Agreed. And then my second point was what you were talking about, and we were talking about why don't the people we need now have the skills? And for my opinions are that it's the media creating fear that our world is going to be transformed. It's going to be robots, and it's going to push people out. So of course, people are resisting change here. And then it is maybe the ideals around technology in itself, that you really need to be really smart to understand technology, or that it's kind of elitist as technology, or that digital transformation is this scary thing. And this is something I talked about when Emma was on the show, is that what you have to think about is you are constantly learning digital transformation every single day. Don't look at it as like, oh, this big scary thing that I don't think I can do, or I don't think I can learn, or I have a fear towards learning it because I don't think I'm going to be good at it. You get good at digital transformation. Those are my words. Get good every single day. Everyone who's on this live, everyone who's part of this live, you're learning. Everybody that clicks onto Netflix, you're learning. Everybody that learns Facebook's and LinkedIn's new algorithm, you're learning. So what makes you think you can't learn the skills? And what makes you just can't go out and do it yourself if nobody is going to support you in it, or your organization's not going to support you in it?
Maybe people are conditioned to believe that. Like for years, I've seen technology teams invent lovely acronyms, and finance teams are as guilty. You create an acronym, you kill your audience, and then nobody questions what you're doing. But I would agree. But it's the interesting bit. Like, who would have thought, and this is where COVID has pushed things, there was a funny thing on the internet that says, what encouraged digital transformation the most? Was it your finance person? Was it your HR person? Was it your technology partner? Or was it COVID? And I think everybody got it right by mentioning COVID forced it to happen. So in that regard, change had to happen, and for all the better reasons in lots of ways. But at home, we're using, look at us on StreamYard, and we're across the globe and we're connected. You wouldn't have thought of that 20 years ago. Now we don't think anything of it. Look at your mobile phone, be it an Android or Apple. I can bank, I can do whatever. And it's all second nature. Netflix, I'm on it. The internet, I'm on it. And half the people in this call may not have remembered what it was like to not have the internet. I'm one of those who remembers what it was like not with the internet. It's quite funny. But the technology works because it's really great. It's really applicable to what we're trying to do. Where I think we can really help people is not bring in a technology product because someone's had a nice lunch on a golf course or hasn't listened to the people in the organization and been sold the vision by a sales team that are more interested in a sale than actually delivering a really useful product. That I see time and time again happening. It's a bit, here's a hammer, now everything looks like a nail, I'm going to whack it with it. I go back to people again. Have you spent time with the people in the organization understanding how they work? What way they'd like to work? What type of technology do they have? How can we train them and make them better at using the technology? How do we give them the skills and the vision? Have you went out to your customers? Have you understood how they operate, where they buy, how they transact, what ways would work? Because once you get, I call it CX and EX, which is customer experience and employee experience. And what you put that with TX, the technology experience, and that's the right technology experience, which includes not only the product, but the vision and the selling and the influencing. And, when you put those three things together in a triangle, bang in the middle is fantastic outcomes. But we tend not to take time to do one, two, or all three of those at times. And then we get to complain loudly as to, why did that technology not work? Isn't it a problem? And that's my pet hate, which is blaming tech for something that is easily foreseen and easily avoided if we just took time to listen to people and work with them.
Exactly. Exactly. So the next question, actually the next two questions, I'm going to kind of meld together because it's something we alluded to earlier. We talked a little bit about earlier. That's not it.
Nope,
but
done that one.
Nope, done that one.
To death.
Yeah, and then we talk about technology. My StreamYard is all over the place here.
That's Are you blaming the technology? I think that's called a picnic.
No. I actually hit the wrong button with my cursor, so it's me. It's so sensitive. It's like extra sensitive. So what holds HR back from supporting digital transformation? And I wanted to tack on to that too, is that how can HR pros and CHROs overcome this? So it's a two-part question.
I think we've talked a little bit about this to date. So a little bit of HR pigeonholing themselves. And it goes back to Janelle's comment, you need to, like every person and every department normally, and I use the word small f, fights for influence, fights for cash and whatever else. And if you're not willing to put your foot forward and argue your ideas worthwhile, then you're going to be that team that sits in the back room that we're not too sure quite what you do, but if we've got a problem, we'll normally call you and you can kind of sort it out. So if you're not actually influencing, putting yourself forward and educating yourself, then you're in trouble. And I mean that, I don't want anybody to come away and think, right, IT have to fight for their share, HR have to fight for theirs, finance have to fight for theirs. We need to overcome that and continue on the good work that we're doing at the moment, which is working together to deliver business outcomes. And that's what we should be concentrating on. Because if we all work together and organizations are successful, it'll not be a case of you're out of a job because some one department's got more money than the others. Everybody will enjoy growth and influence. And if you need to move between one department and another, all the better. And HR should be preparing for that. They should see the roles that are going to disappear. And let's be honest, some roles will disappear via technology, which is why, even as far back as a tractor, why we don't have hundreds of people in a field anymore, you know what I mean? It will disappear. They should be preparing that strategy and helping those people who have tremendous market and product and company knowledge prepare for the future. So one is influence, putting their foot forward, educating themselves and educating the board as well, and making sure they're seen and heard and understood so that people realize invest in people, then you'll get a far greater return than just investing in this thing called technology. I also think, and I go back to this, it is evidence setting. Like everyone in an organization, here's the good news. If you look at Pearson Education, they did a report with SIAD Institute a couple of years ago, and a couple of the outcomes come out that said, look, there's something going to be called lifelong learning, which is, I remember doing my degree, it's a number of years ago, I'll not admit to it. And every year since, or every 5 years, I've done something new to add value to myself, to make sure I'm valuable in an organization. A lot of people wait for a business to put them on a course, to teach them something, to learn something. No, your education, your development is your own responsibility. It can be aided and abetted by your HR team, but you cannot abdicate responsibility for that. So get learning yourself. And that includes everyone from a board member to a chief executive, to the chief financial officer, to the CHRO, and everyone at every layer in an organization. We will, or this next generation will work to 100. Welcome to that beautiful fact. We will have multiple careers. The world will change. It has never gone slower, or it has never gone faster, and it'll never go slower again. So get on with learning. So I don't think it's one thing. It's about, HR teams doing their bit and influencing. But as individuals, we have a hell of a lot of accountability and a lot of look at yourself in the mirror to see if you've done your own job and your own development, supported yourself and grown and supported your colleagues and reached across boundaries and done all the things you need to do to make an organization work as well. So I don't think it's one thing, it's lots of things.
Enrique says, don't be limited by position title. Agreed. Advocate, demonstrate. When leaders are overcome by other priorities, HR is one of those areas that is too often sidelined.
Yeah, and we sidelined or allowed themselves to be sidelined.
And I was just going to say, we have to change that. So it is a question, are we allowing ourselves to be sidelined? Possibly, because you've seen, if you look at organizations and you look around them, you'd be amazed at the influence particular people have who don't have a title. We all know that person that you go to that gets things done and they're not the chief executive. That's influencing at its best. That's building those relationships at work. I don't think it's just, let's be honest, Corinne, it's just not as easy as go out tomorrow morning and start influencing. I'm not suggesting that, and I'm not putting all the blame on HR and putting all the focus on HR teams to do this, because
some organizations are really hard. And if you have an executive team that no matter what you do just isn't listening, I think it's to your point earlier on, jump in a different bus, jump in a different seat and go in a different direction. And good luck to the organization that may not be there. But there's a lot we can do and control. I'm not a fatalist. I'm someone who fully believes that I can control my future, be it inside of a particular organization or something else. And the more I think we realize that we've tremendous influence, if not positional power, and we can do amazing things and make amazing things happen. If everybody thought that, or a majority in an organization, imagine what our organizations would look like tomorrow and the next day.
Exactly. And you and I were talking before the live came on about building confidence in someone. And I also think that can be related to building confidence in a profession as well. It's like, how many times can we reverse the track in our mind that, okay, HR is not important, HR not important, and then reversing the track saying, we have influence, we can provide evidence, we are taking a seat at the table, we are the most important, if not one of the most important positions within the organization for digital transformation, because as you say, digital transformation is about people. It's about people, not technology. So play that track in your mind. I'm not saying you, but because you already play that track in your mind. But I'm saying to people out there, is like, play that track in your mind and listen to people like Kieran and giving you support and saying and being out there and being a very public figure internationally, saying that this is important for HR departments.
I love that. We should have recorded that conversation because we were talking about NLP and mind maps. And if you find something negative, I was saying that your mind is almost like a search engine. It'll go searching for more negative. What you need to do is break that psyche. A normal person I would advise coaching is go and sprint on the spot as hard as you can. Or someone said to me yesterday, play Bon Jovi, pray, living on a prayer as loud as you can, but not quite doing that. But if you change the mind map from I can't to I can, and from obstacles to just facts, there's just facts to deal with. This is work, then hopefully to goodness we do see what you're describing, Kieran, as well. And I wish everyone success at it. If I can help anyone, please let me know as well.
And mine is Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, Rain on Me.
Yes. Power tune.
That's the power tune. Yes.
That's where we just cut now and play music.
So Kieran just offered that if you do want to contact him, contact Kieran via LinkedIn DM. That's what I did. I just jumped right into his DM and said, hey. I'll post that up later on too. So I wanted to just get Ricky's comment in here again. Unfortunately, both, when leaders systematically view profit over people. And so this is one for me, is that, and we've really realized it over this, we've changed so much in this 1 year. Imagine how much it's going to be accelerated over 2021. And that people are going to vote with their feet, and they're going to vote with their voice in regards to organizations. And if organizations do not treat people kindly, do not support them with their lifestyles, do not give them what they need and desire, they are going to be dinosaurs and they will fail miserably. So it's all changing.
Yeah. Oh, I so agree with that one. I think we've now got, as employees, the things that we have wanted for years, more flexibility, and organizations that suddenly didn't allow people on a contact center floor to have a mobile phone have been grateful that those people are actually working in their homes in whatever way they can to keep a business moving forward. I think we've tasted the future, and I would agree with you, Karina, there as well, that in all honesty, if I go back to work and I'm made to work 5 days a week in an office and it becomes a very transactional relationship, and it's pure profit above people, then I'm moving, and like all recoveries, and the recovery's already started, thank goodness, those opportunities will appear. And as you say, people will exit in floods. Now, will it be, Ricky, you're quite right, all organizations get that? I don't think so. I have examples in my network of people being forced to go into work, been told they have to get COVID injections, and as soon as the economy recovers, every one of them, word perfect, have said, we're going. I think organizations that don't move will fail, except probably in the same boat as you. It'll be too late for them to realize. And I don't welcome that, because people have been, maybe they're just not knowledgeable, maybe they're doing it deliberately, maybe they're doing it unintentionally. I don't wish any organization to fail, but we have seen the future, and I don't know many people will want to go back. They will move to where people are the most important thing. And it's interesting, the organizations that have treated the people the best, look at some of the productivity stats, look at some of the loyalty, look at some of the NPS. They're staying. They're putting up with reduced wages. They're putting up with longer hours. They're putting up with jumping on with clients at whatever time of day or night because they want to make the organization succeed. I think when we come out of this, we're starting to see green shoots. And what you'll see is not only green shoots, but the upturned bottoms of leather soles and maybe slippers that we're at home at the moment, and runners, as people run for the exits. And I wish everyone the best success in running toward an organization that values them. They'll be the ones that will work better and drive more profit in the long run. But I hope it's profit with a human element.
Yeah, and absolutely, to your point, like, we don't want any organizations to fail.
No.
We don't wish ill will on anyone.
None.
And then to your other point, look at the customer loyalty and customer exposure that Salesforce gained yesterday with their announcement that they were going, that they're taking away the 9 to 5. I mean, the internet, LinkedIn blew up with people saying thank you, and you're so supportive of your employees. And you know what customers are going to think when they're looking for automation? Salesforce, because they treat their people right, because they want to do good in the world. They want to be sustainable. They want to be innovative. They want to be creative, and they want to have great people policies.
Hell yeah. Cue Lady Gaga.
Rain on me. Yeah. Okay. Not my Lady Gaga impression.
Not too sure who that was, but we'll continue on.
And Ricky says, Kieran agreed in cap marks. So we have about 10 minutes left right now in our live, and we may do another live, may do a part 2, because we really didn't get to like half our questions.
I think you and I could talk for a while.
Yes, we could.
Although we need Em in as well, because
yes.
I think if we got the 3 of us together, we'd be very dangerous.
Yeah, and then I need a producer because I can't do all the controls by myself and pay attention to what you're saying. So.
Look, we're creating employment. Look at the sign of recovery is already started.
But I wanted to get one question in regards to the 17 ways that HR can support digital transformation.
I shortened the list, but 17, yes. 17,
that's, what did you shorten it from?
No, I'm joking. I'm just playing. I'm sure I could have said more.
I was like, how am I going to pick my choice ones from 17? And I had a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what I narrowed it down to that I wanted to talk about, but I'm only going to get a chance to talk about one. So
we'll post that afterwards, by the way, the link to that article, in case people don't understand what it is we're talking about.
Yes. It was a what I call a slider that Kieran pulled up on LinkedIn along with his rant about HR's support of digital transformation. That caught my eye. So I really want to ask this question because I'm interested in this, and it pertains to my business. So I'm just going to ask it rather than going to one that pertains more to HR. Is that so? You say that in number 9, way number 9, you include social media savvy as a skill that HR professionals should have, and for supporting digital transformation. So why? Mm-hmm. Why do you include social media savvy? Because that just kind of seems like out of left field.
No, absolutely not. But again, let's see if you and I can disagree on this one here.
No, I'm asking the question because I want to create that.
Okay. So you need to line these for me earlier. Well, how did you find me?
Social media.
There you go. How are customers judging organizations these days? Social
media. We just talked about it with Salesforce.
There you go. So now you've answered your own question. So everybody should know social media. It's how we communicate. It's how we've communicated for years. It's how opinions are formed, how judgments are made, how we make decisions, and who are making the decisions? People. Now look at the opportunities that this technology has created. Yes, we know the bad stuff. We know that we're being fed, stuff that will keep us online. It tends to be more controversial. But once you work through it, look at LinkedIn and the opportunities for businesses or for connections like this. I have to say, and this is the bit that someone mentioned to me a day or two ago, a lady called Janine Gill, absolutely fantastic comment. This has allowed us to feel like a community, but where we're not feeling like a community normally. It's brought us all kind of closer together. So as individuals, we're feeling closer. As potential customers of companies, we're checking it out. As colleagues and family members and local communities, as employees, social media is critical, whether we like it or not. So if that isn't a skill that HR are advising people to obtain, then again, get your coat, close the door. I think you might be better on a different bus.
Yeah. So to say that I do all of my business on social media, I check my email. Check my email once every 2 days or so, and I have maybe one random spam email. So all my messaging is through LinkedIn now. Everything, pretty much. So again, going back to the question I asked, I was kind of like looking at it kind of like a rhetorical question.
Look at that. So yes, social number 9 tick. We'll keep that one in the box.
Yes, I think that's very important.
Okay.
So Lisa says she's in the midst of a job search, and I could not do it without social media, of course. But I've been a fan of social media for a while. True. So
fantastic. Some great ways of building your profile on LinkedIn and letting people know that little bit more about you, and reaching out to people as well. Don't be shy on that one. Again, don't be fatalistic and wait for jobs to appear. Evidence your value on LinkedIn, and you'll be amazed that the opportunities come up. I guarantee you, Kieran, since you've been in this, you're now not pushing yourself on to customers. They're coming to you because of how well known you are. And I would recommend, jump on a talk, form an opinion, write an article, create opportunities for yourself. And I wish you every success in your job hunt.
Yeah, Lisa, let me know if you wanted to get some tips on some content strategy and LinkedIn optimization. Let me know. I'm happy to give them.
Yeah. And if you're a robotic process automation developer, I know several companies who want you.
I mean, there's lots and lots of companies looking out right now out for HR managers and professionals that are digitally savvy and can talk to digital transformation. So there's a big point there.
Yep. Massive.
We've got a question come from, where do buyers look for their needed parts on the net? So there's a comment. Where do buyers look for needed parts on the net, and then they use the social media to evaluate? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. It's interesting. One of the best things I've seen a couple of years ago is HR teams bringing in consultants. It was at this stage to help everybody get on message and on track and learn social media skills and make sure, their banners were talking about the company, the call to actions were clear, and. So to Brian's point there, customers are looking at social media all the time. They're looking at the COO, they're looking at the CFO, they're looking at members of the company. If you're trying to sell them something, they're going to your profile to make a determination. So again, it's critical. Get your social media, I would say authentic, but get it organized as well.
All right, so we have time for one more question. So I'm going to go to, let's see here.
It's like rolling a dice here, isn't it? I'm not too sure.
It is. Yeah, I wasn't. Okay. This is my second favorite one here. So number 12, you mentioned bias towards action. What is that, for those that don't know? And how can we be more aware of our bias towards action?
Let me explain bias for action. So that means don't wait for something to happen, make it happen. So if I'm talking about HR and we're talking about influencing earlier on, go and influence. Don't wait for someone to come up and suddenly be transformed with the opinion that, oh my goodness, people are more important than technology, or HR can do more than write a policy or get someone out of the organization or help with the disciplinary process. Go and make stuff happen. It's the same with us. In a digital age, we could have waited for the world to, start spinning again. Don't digitally transform your company. Get your LinkedIn profile up to date. Get your company website up and running. Organize an event. Write an article. Form an opinion. Start interacting with people. In life, if you don't make things happen, you're very unlikely for things to happen to you. You have to move your butt, for want of a better phrase, and make things, make change happen. And the more change you make happen, And the more you realize that you can control things and influence things, the more change will happen and the more change you will want in your life. I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to change and addicted to actions because things happen. Waiting for them to happen doesn't really work.
And I would add that the more times you make change happen or take action, the more times that you take action, the easier it gets each time, and then it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, it is a confidence thing, isn't it? Like it's easy for us to say it, but if it's just take the first baby step, just take the first step, see how it feels. It might not work the first time. Try it again. You know, try and try and try, and just gradually build a bit of momentum around that change and that action. And if I can help people, I collaborate on lots of articles. And that's how I met Emma, and that's why we're doing, you know, our LinkedIn Live. That's why Emma and I contribute across articles. That's why other people have jumped in. You know, if I can help you in some shape, form, or other, if you want to write something with me, jump into the articles or anything else. If that's the step you need before you write a full article or before you appear on a LinkedIn Live or organizing your own LinkedIn Live, more than delighted to help. But just take the first tiny step and try.
So in the last little bit here, what do you want people to contact you for? So what are you needing help with? What are you looking for in connections? How can you help other people and how other people can help you?
If I ignore the first and go to the second, I think this is the one thing I've really liked about COVID and social media, is that if you give away large quantities of value, and by that, I've paid, and I'll not name companies, but 50,000 a year to write, you know, plans for my intelligent automation programs. I paid that years ago. I give all that away for free. I give away a massive amount of value because, you know, when I want to, I've seen so much rubbish written, and it is rubbish. I can't even politely say it's anything other than fallacy, you know, and people are forced to spend money on that and believe it. I hate seeing people getting ripped off. I give away massive amounts of value. But the amazing thing, Kieran, is that I get massive amounts of value back. So if I hadn't written that article, you and I wouldn't have got to meet and talk and laugh and enjoy an evening and, you know, chat to Brian and Lisa and Janelle across the world. I wouldn't have met Emma and got so many opportunities to do LinkedIn Live and meet, you know, hundreds of other people. If I now want to pick up the phone with anyone in the world, I can do that, you know. So by actually, you know, putting myself out there, giving away masses and masses of value, and leave myself to a certain degree vulnerable, because people could hate it, they could love it or whatever else, none of these opportunities would have appeared. And all this has been thankful again to social media and just taking that first step forward. So I don't want anything from you. If you want to contribute to articles, gosh, please do. But more importantly, if I can give you value through my articles or time, or can answer a question for you, you know, please, please, please genuinely reach out and ask. I'll be more than happy to do something. And then as an unintentional byproduct of that, I tend to get, you know, just tremendous gifts and wonderful conversations and meet amazing people in return. So reach out and let's chat.
Thanks, Kieran. And I would say to everybody is, like, definitely look on Kieran's LinkedIn page. There is a wealth of information about RPA, intelligent automation, and digital transformation. I've myself, who's an avid article reader, I've only really been able to get through a few of the articles because they are so rich with interesting information, and I'm still digesting them. So we are over our time, but I wanted to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Kieran, so much for coming on today and jousting back and forth with me. I appreciate that. And thank you to all my audience members for all your comments and all your questions. And thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, Resourceful Humans. Thank you.
Have a wonderful time, everyone. Thank you for coming. And Lisa, good luck in your job search.
All right, we're ending broadcast now.